We are.
All right, that's enough of that.
Yo.
Jesus Christ. Yo.
What's
Dude,
going on,
I
everybody?
swear to God, it is so fucking wild. And for anybody who hasn't seen the music video before, it's just a perfect explanation of kind of what we're talking about tonight.
Seriously.
Essentially, like, good Lord. Men being their own worst enemy. Because that's really what it is. We complain about OnlyFans and all
First
that
of
type
all,
crap.
let me
Go ahead.
clarify. Coco, no, I did not find the video today. Okay. Thank you very much. That was all the Hudsman.
Oh, I didn't do anything. You're
Shut
lying
up.
to her.
I ain't gotta lie. Any Hoosers, what's going on, guys? Today we're talking about men are their worst enemies. We tend to complicate our lives more than we need to. And that video is kind of funny because so many guys are sucked into that. That's all they think about. They want that whop. They'll do anything to get that whop, that they will sell their souls for that whop. They will complicate their lives just to get a little bit of that whop. So let's talk about that. Why do men do that? Huds, you got any idea why guys do that?
I mean, honestly, I've shared with you, I love porn myself. I think porn is an art form. I love sex. I love the male-female relationship, but you can get all this shit for free. And guys nowadays, instead of just getting their shit for free or scrolling Reddit or something like that, they're now fueling. That's why they're their own worst enemy. They're fueling the fire by paying into OnlyFans, by paying towards porn, by paying towards these types of things, and then they wonder why they can't get a girl when they're just pushing the agenda that way.
Yeah, I mean, on the topic of porn, I'm with Rolo on it that it makes guys, not work for it. If you could click it on, everybody's lazy these days. Nobody wants to work for shit. So when you have such a lazy, people in your society, that's the problem. So when they could click online and get it, then why are they going to work for it? Why are they going to put in the work to level up to be a good enough guy to get quality women?
Right.
And I see that as more of a problem than a tool these days. But I can understand what you're saying. It could be a tool. I mean, let's say you want to spice things up in your relationship and you need some material to look at to, do something cool. You and your girl could.
Yeah, but how many guys actually are looking at porn for that reason? Let's be honest.
Oh, they're not. But I'm saying, like I said, if you're using it in that realm, it could be beneficial. But let's move on past the porn topic and talk about why guys actually are their worst enemies and how the WAP, chasing the WAP, sets them up for failure.
Sure.
So, what's the one thing that men can't do for themselves?
Have a child.
They can't fuck themselves. They can't get. They cannot have
sex.
They can.
That's called masturbation.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. But they can't satisfy themselves like a woman can satisfy a man. So what they will do is that they would sell their souls for the one thing they can't get, rather than understanding that the one thing they can't get is attracted to all the things that they can do.
I want to. We got a special guest that just hopped in.
Yeah, let's bring him up.
Before we dive deeper, yeah, Laurent,
Mr. Laurent from the Tokyo, the money man.
How you doing, gentlemen?
Doing great.
Fantastic. Thanks for hopping in. This is
thank you very much for having me.
So Laurent, today we're talking about how men are their worst enemies. You are a seasoned veteran. You're definitely part of the Dragon Ship. You're a Dakar in the Dragon Ship. How do you see men being their worst enemies?
We found the enemy, and it's us. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, by definition, we're self-destructive. Like we always, the path of least resistance. What's the path of least resistance on a Friday night? I'm gonna stay home, play some video game, have some pizza, and vigorously masturbate.
I like that vigorously.
Vigorously. The whole forearm is getting bigger by the minute.
No, but it's the truth, and that's why I use that as the background for the show this week. It is. It's just a guy scrolling through his phone, eating pizza, where the pizzas are resting on his chest. You know, we get the tools to be able to be lazy, and we become our own worst enemies.
So, I mean, let's think about it. How many guys, I mean, guys are under 30 right now are, what's it, 1/3 of them are sexless? Something like that? Like 30% of men are being sexless under 30?
Yeah, it's about 28%.
And you factor in, then what are these factors that these guys are not getting women? Now, someone like to believe that, oh, they're just all Christian. And these are the Christian men that are practicing celibacy. That's not true. Okay.
It's a load of horse crap.
Yeah. It's not true. But there's serious problems with men not being successful anymore. I think a lot of it is, men not having a rite of passage into manhood. Your community of men giving you a rite of passage. Your father, your uncles, the men in your life. There used to be a rite of passage for men. And we don't see that anymore. We see that you turn 18, okay, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You're no longer our responsibility. So there's a lack of rite of passage and a lack of expectations for men, by men. Here's the thing. Men used to expect other things from men to consider them a man. Now we don't do that. And the only people that hold expectations of a man is women. They want a man to have 6 figures and blah 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 blah. They want a man to have the money like Laurent, the charm like the Husband, and the strength of Glenn Lawrence, all in one. And you don't find many men nowadays that are capable of having these things because one, they were never taught. You don't find, you know what I'm saying? So Laurent, what do you think? Do you think that's right? Like guys are lacking this
Men need mentors. I
Yeah.
was lucky. I was lucky enough, like when I was in my. I come from the South Pacific, and my father was handicapped, so he never really was a mentor. I love him very much, though, to this day. And I found a mentor, and he taught me martial arts, and he taught me that you're responsible for everything that happens in your life, the good, the bad, and everything else. Take responsibility for everything, and this is where you're going. And he gave me a code. It's a bit like a Dexter, except I don't run around butchering people. Uh, but having the code, having a mentor is very important. Men need mentors. Men need guidance. Men need older people. And in the professional realm, this is something I should have done. Find a champion. Find a champion. Find a mentor. And how do you do that? Like you can't run around saying, "Hey, would you like to be my mentor?" Some people will say yes, but actually find what you can bring them value to, and then they will be. Older people are more than happy to mentor people. This is what you're doing effectively. So we all need mentors.
It's a great point. And I think one of the biggest pitfalls that men have is ego. Because with ego, you go ahead and you don't want to seek the help. And you're going to have to search through a lot of crap. You're going to have to search through a lot of coaches that don't resonate with you before you get to the point where everything kind of clicks internally in your head. And that's just the journey. That's the path. That's the hero's journey. And without doing that, you're never going to get to that point.
Yeah, I think also guys need to get it in their heads that life is not going to be easy for them. Like life is not going to be easy for you if you are a man. It's just not. Okay, like the reality is life's going to be difficult. There's going to be challenges and there's going to be hurdles that you have to overcome. Thor told me a saying that his dad told him. And just so you guys know, I had a great trip with Thor, going to Vegas, meeting up with Savo.
We
and
got to hear
everybody.
about this trip. I see Afi in the chat. Shout out to you, my man. I know you
Yeah,
guys had a hell of a
Afi
lot
was
of
there.
fun.
Me and Afi kicked it. It was good. It was great
Passport
times.
King.
But what he said was this. It was like he would remember saying like, "Dad, I need a hand with something," and his dad would tell him, "Well, look at the end of your wrist. There's your hand. Do it yourself." And sometimes we have to trial and error. We have to constantly try to improve ourselves and fail. Failure is not a bad thing, guys. Failure is beautiful. Okay? Like when I was bodybuilding and I was competing, I failed many times at lifting a certain weight. But each time I would push myself, I got a little bit stronger. So you don't get strong in your comfort zone. You get strong when you're pushing yourself and you challenge yourself and you fail. What was it? Einstein that said that he learned how to make a light bulb by failing 1,000 times, or he didn't fail. He found 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
That was Tesla. Not Tesla. The other one, Edison. Thomas Edison.
Edison. That's right.
Yeah,
By the way,
I still hate you for misquoting it because Edison actually stole it. But
exactly, he stole it. That's the thing. It was invented by a British guy, and the guy who perfected it in his laboratory, Edison fired him. That tells you the character of Thomas Edison.
Okay, so he hired 1,000 people and stole the best idea. I mean, move it on.
Okay, I got one for you then. What was that? Steve Jobs said, talented people borrow and genius steal from everybody. So
There
that's
you
true.
go.
I mean, Michael Jordan said he saw like a whole string of failures. So moving past failure, I mean, failure is just a tuition that you have to pay. And I always believe that, hey, don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the fortitude to weather what is coming your way. And like everybody, it's just interesting. Like let's segue into money, for instance. Oh, I'm gonna be happy when I have $1 million because $1 million will solve my all my problems. Then you realize that actually, money solves money problems, because when you're at $1 million, or when you're at 2 or 3 or at 5 or at 10, then you have the problems of millionaires. And trust me, the scale is very fucking different. So it's not about, I'm going to pay my electricity bill. No, I got to pay like, I have $150,000. Actually, I need to go. So like, I have $150,000 bill that I need to pay. Like, wait a minute. What about my 200 or $300, or what about my gasoline tank? So you have different scale of problems that money brings. So
Well, it's a good question, Laurent. I got a question for you here.
the answer is yes. You may proceed.
You are a millionaire. Like,
yeah, of course.
You got the bag. How many times did you fail in life in pursuit of becoming where you are now?
That's a good question. To this day, actually, I mean, I continue to fail. I mean, I continue to fail. Like even like now, actually, today, there's something I need to settle because I procrastinated and I failed, and I will continue to fail. But failure doesn't stop me. Failure doesn't define me. It's the great Chinese philosopher Bruce Lee. He said, like, you don't fail until you give up. So yeah, I mean, I fail, but it doesn't make me a failure. I just fail. So what?
So let me ask you the question this way: you have found success, right? How have you been?
I found you guys.
You found us. How have
Stop being
you?
so freaking humble. Jesus Christ, they're on.
How have you been your own worst enemy? And when have you noticed it?
I am my own worst enemy for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, like it's like in every domain. Like when you're in the dojo, you don't fight anybody, you fight yourself. So the greatest enemy is not everybody else. Actually, this is what my mentor told me at the tender age of 17. You're your own worst enemy. You can only defeat yourself. And Sun Tzu said the same thing. Like he who knows people is wise. He who knows himself is the wisest. He who can defeat people is strong. He who can defeat himself is the strongest. So yeah.
When did you come to a point when you knew that you had to get out of your own way? Like how did that How did you reconcile that? Like, how did you reconcile that you need to get out of your own way in order for you to be successful?
Oh, man, you put me on the spot. I'm not accustomed to that.
Hey, you know what? You're on the Big Brother show. I'm gonna start firing rapid fire questions at you. But like,
Yeah, what did I do? All the time. I mean, this is very simple. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. So failure is a good teacher as long as you don't take it personally. So yeah, and eventually you realize that you need to change yourself. It's the same thing in the markets. Like for instance, if you look at trading, the market is very simple. You enter with a certain quantity, you exit, and so on and so forth. Rinse, repeat. And somebody said that oh, he can publish his strategy on the cover of the Wall Street Journal for 2 weeks in a row, and 95% of the people will still fail. Reason being because they get in their own way. So when money is on the line, it's it's a very rapid feedback.
now then let's turn it
I
from.
want to point out something that he had said in his statement. You win, and then you learn.
Yeah, you
That's
don't
it.
lose, you learn.
Exactly. I think that is a brilliant, brilliant thing here. Men
Yeah,
are their own worst enemy because a lot of times we don't look at it that way.
and here's a question for everybody, and I'll start with Huds and then Laurent, and then I'll finish. Um, when it comes to being your own worst enemy, when in your life did you realize you were your own worst enemy in relationships? We're gonna get into the dating aspect or the marriage aspect. When did you realize you were your own worst enemy in your relationships?
Bro, oh man. Yeah, and let's break it down and do a couple different things. You own worse than me for multiple different things. It's funny because literally today I was cleaning house on all of my photos and I was going back to the relationship I was in. And I had a lot of saved conversations between the two of us. And it was very interesting to see that even though the red flags were there from the beginning, and I even took the time to screenshot them to remind myself how bad things were getting, I still kept it going. So I am my own worst enemy when it comes to trusting other people. And I saw that right there today for viewing my own personal history.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys, we all go through that. We we ignore red flags a lot. Laurent, how about you? When you're in a relationship, when did you realize, like, man, I'm my own worst enemy? It's not so much the woman; she's gonna do what she's gonna do, but I'm my own worst enemy because I allow it.
Oh, that's a very good question. So I'll break it down in two periods. So pre marriage, I mean I live in Japan, so like in Japan you can have the body count of Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, and like you can line up serial killers. So uh, I was my own worst enemy. Yeah. Because at some point I said, "Oh shit, I need to have some game." So I developed some game, and then whoa, rock and roll. It was great, but I was my own worst enemy in a sense that had absolutely no loyalty, and I let go of a lot of good chicks. So I ended up getting married. With we married, but we made by familiarity. We bring our unfinished past into our future, trying to fix it, trying to heal it, or trying to avoid it. So this is what I did. Fast forward, I married my wife. It went well. Then a couple of kids, and then things went downhill. And then it went so bad that actually I found the red pill. I was at my wit's end. And since I found the red pill, it's been a journey of 3 years. And I mean, I didn't find the red pill in the first place, but it was a journey of 3 years, and I found the red pill about a year and a half ago, or somewhere like that, a year ago. Met MLD and so on and so forth. And it's interesting because I'm the same person. These are the same conditions, and literally, like I had absolutely no form of respect in my household, even though, like, hey, I bring the bag and whatnot. But I was considered a loser, didn't deserve any respect, and now respect. And then I realized actually I can't change people. We want to mold. We want to change the world. Like all those social justice warriors and whatnot. Like, oh yeah, well you got to do this. Yeah, what's the balance of your student loan? Go talk to me when you paid off. Uh, hey,
They don't
bye
have
bye.
to pay it off. Biden's taking care of it.
All right. Actually, you know what? I disagree on that point. I think it will never be paid off. There's a very technical reason. They can give a discount,
Right.
but it will never be paid off because and it cannot be forgiven because there's a technicality is that actually the government sees it as an asset. When you have an asset, you can issue more money. So no, it's not going away anytime soon, unfortunately, or fortunately, I should say.
You know what? Hold on. I have a rebuttal for that.
Okay.
When Trump was in office, shit got paid off. He paid off my student loans because I was a veteran, and so
Ah.
he paid mine off because I'm technically injured from the military, so he paid mine off. So he
Was
paid
it
mine
your
off.
ego that got injured, or
No, injuries, back injuries and stuff. But because I got injured during my line of duty, he paid it all off. So I
That's
got a
that's
zero.
probably because of insurance and stuff like this.
Yeah,
So it won't be blanket like blanket forget about for debt forgiveness. But what I realized is actually I was the same me but different. I mean, same external conditions, but the software inside became different. I realized I can't change people, but I can change. If you don't dance the same dance that you used to do, if you dance a different dance, people will have to adapt. You look at Gandhi. Gandhi died with 150 things in his possessions, and when you look at them, like there's one spoon, one stick, one bowl, two loins of clothes, like but the guy moved an empire that was never defeated, an empire on which the sun never set, by the sheer strength of his will. So change and the world around you will change. You change your perception and everything else around you will change.
yeah. I would say for me,
brilliant?
um, I was like you, Thuds. I saw a lot of red flags, and I went through my divorce, and I was in what would you call like a red pill rage moment. There was a time I was in red pill rage, and then I brought all that baggage from my previous relationship into my new relationship, and it caused a lot of turmoil. So one, my first time is like I recognized the red flags, and I didn't. I was trying to do the happy wife, happy life thing when I was married, and it literally was bad to try to do that. And see, I grew up in a Christian background. I was a youth pastor. They had this thing like, well, it's whatever your wife's doing, it's your fault. You're the problem. You got to fix yourself, or your wife wouldn't do those things. So there was no agency. This belief that women didn't have any agency, any responsibility for their negative behavior. So, like, if your wife's cheating on you, you're doing something wrong. Fix yourself, and then she won't cheat on you. And it's like, okay, so you can only take so much. So then I should have just left when from the beginning, and I didn't. Then there was a process of exiting out of it, everything, and it was a really big mess. And I brought that anger and that resentment of women into my new relationship, because then I got red pilled, right? Oh, all women are like this. You get that rage, and once you get aware of the behavior, and then it was going through the process of being red pilled, I realized, damn, I'm my own worst enemy, because one, I exited a relationship. I didn't give myself time to heal from that properly and really go through the whole red pill phases before I got into a new relationship. And by not doing so, I allowed that bitterness from my previous relationship, my marriage, to plant roots into my new relationship, which only poisoned it. And it took a lot of work to rip out those roots and discard all that shit that I brought into my new relationship in order for the new relationship to thrive. And a lot of that was myself. It wasn't so much the woman, it was myself that I had to realize that I'm my own worst enemy here, because I'm doing things based off of a previous experience and not taking the new experience as a new experience. Like, being enlightened is one thing, knowing the red pill is one thing. But I had the view set that all women were like this. And so when you have that view set, that's when you're when you're so concerned about not getting hurt or not getting burned by women, you play safe. You don't play to win. You just play not to get taken advantage of. You play not to get burned. And
Right.
then if you do that, you're not going to have success. You're living in safe mode. And until I realized that and was able to correct those things, I noticed my relationship got better. I noticed things got stronger and things were now moving the way I wanted them to move. You know, and but it took me realizing I'm my own worst enemy. You know, I'm causing this unnecessary conflict in my own life with somebody I don't want to have conflict with.
Right. No, that's a great point. It's huge. I find that, you know, at least with myself, it's the same type of thing. As men, we're supposed to be leaders, correct? So if we're not trying to be, if we're supposed to be leaders, then we need to fix ourselves first before we try and be that leader. Because nobody wants a leader that has no idea what's even going on in their own internal head. So I think that's a huge, huge, huge point. So past relationships, though, where else are men their own worst enemy? I know that the first thing you're going to say, Glenn, is going to the gym. And so I guess we can stick to the topic of fitness.
When it comes to fitness, you guys, I mean, the American population, 70% of men are of the adult population in America, 70% are considered overweight. I think it's 40% considered obese. You know, we are very fat in America. I look at our America, and first I look at our military. Our military is just as bad as our civilian world. They're fat, overweight. I was a trainer for the military. You know, when I got out and I started working for the Navy as a contractor, I was a trainer. And I had everybody from high-ranking officers to the lowest-ranking enlisted person in there constantly because they were overweight. And my job was to get them down into weight. And I'm putting them through the workouts, just getting on their ass. And I'm like, man, how the fuck can you protect my country with your fat ass and you can't even fit in your fucking uniform? It's pathetic. Because when I was in, we were fit. There was a standard. But I was a combat person, so you had to be. And I just never understood why people don't realize that. Guys need to realize if you want to feel good about yourself, and I hate getting into feelings because, but if you want to feel good about yourself, go to the gym. Your body releases testosterone from workouts, and that testosterone helps you with your mood, and it helps you with your confidence. When you are working out and you're putting in the work in the gym, you get sore muscles, but guess what? You grow muscles and you feel better about yourself. We live in an era where men have the least testosterone naturally than the generations before. And we're not doing anything to help ourselves there if we're not going to the gym. Our foods, the body washes, the lotions, the shit that you put on yourself has so much soy in it. And soy produces estrogen, and then you end up becoming a soy boy like Huds. And then,
Get out of here.
But I mean, you have to constantly work on yourself. And the best place to start, and I tell guys all the time, the best place to start is in the gym. And I'll tell you this from experience. I was 285 pounds. I owned a few barbershops. I was making a little money, but I was fat as fuck. And I remember my confidence was low. My confidence was in the dirt. Wasn't getting attention. Didn't feel good about myself. And then I had somebody challenge me because he was a competitor in bodybuilding. I was like, man, I need to get on your level. He goes, you will never get on my level. You will never get to the place where you can compete. I was like, all right, hold my beer. And I started this journey of competing and started getting into shape. And I lost, 85 pounds in a year and a half. And then I started competing. And I took that knowledge and principles from competing, the discipline from competing. And then I said, I'm going to go back to college. I'm going to go learn theology, because that's a really hard, subject, and I want to prove that I'm smart. Went to college, got a 4.0 the whole time, and I got a degree. I was like, shit, now I'm not stupid. I'm fit. I'm strong. I know how to make money. I'm going places now. The confidence is there. But it started from something tangible, something I could see and work on every day, which was the gym. So I encourage guys, if you really want to push yourself and level yourself up, start with your fitness. Start with something tangible that you could see. You could see it in 90 days. You could see changes in 90 days if you're disciplined enough. So I would definitely recommend guys starting there. Go ahead, Huds.
That's a good point. It's a good point. It's a great point. I think it's funny what Coco was saying here, and that's why I pulled it up on the screen. This is my business. These are the people that I work with every day, and I am seeing cops and firefighters getting larger and larger and larger every day. And how can they do their job effectively? They really can't. And even as you said, it's those small pieces. So if you just do a little bit, you will see before 90 days, you will see an improvement and you will feel the improvement. The thing is that once you plateau, that's when you kind of lose hope. But you never want to lose that, because once you got it rolling, oh my God, does it change everything about your life?
It's interesting, and I'm gonna throw this to Laurent. Like, I'm gonna use a relationship for an example. Everything that you did to get yourself to the altar and to marry somebody, you have to do even after and more, right? Same thing with fitness. Look, everything you do to get your body in shape, in order to maintain that shape and to get better, you have to do everything you did and more. You don't get to just stop. See, people live in this diet fad lifestyle in their mind when it comes to working out, but they also do that same mindset, the mindset in their relationships. Okay, they're like, oh, I did all this. He want to marry me. Okay, now I can let myself go. Now I can get comfortable. No, whatever you did, in like for Laurent's sake, whatever Laurent did to become a millionaire, guess what? He has to fucking do that every day and more in order to continue his legacy and to continue to grow his empire. So if you are dating, everything that you're doing in the beginning of your relationship, you have to do that and more in order to continue your relationship to grow. You want to grow your relationship, you have to put in the work to make it grow. If you want to grow your body and get stronger, you have to do everything that you did in the gym yesterday and more, build up off of it. You have to constantly push yourself to grow. Financially, you want to make more money, guess what? You have to do whatever you did to make the money you have and more in order to grow financially and become successful. It does take risk, it does take time, but you have to do that in order to grow. Laurent, do you agree with that statement?
First of all, you're far too big for me to disagree with you. So yeah,
Oh
of course,
man.
of course. I mean, it's interesting because it goes both ways. Like you get married for a lot of actually. Interestingly enough, I believe that marriage is bad for women in the sense that they stop competing for something, and we both get complacent on both sides. Like men and women get complacent. Okay, I worked hard to do this, to do that. Now I'm married, I can put on a dad bod, and before you know, she's sucking the neighbor, she's vacuuming the neighborhood's fluid. So you got to keep working at yourself, of course, all the time. And I was talking with MLD about this, and I could really clearly see a aha moment. There's two things about getting rich and staying wealthy. And the things that get you rich are not the same. The mindset that gets you rich doesn't keep you wealthy, and it's very important here. So, and this
Can,
is where
can
you
you
see,
can
like,
you elaborate on that a little bit? Like,
okay,
there's a difference, as you said, there's a difference between getting rich and staying wealthy. So how what work do you do to get rich, and then can you distinguish the two?
okay. So getting rich is about, I mean, in terms of mindset, is about taking risk, is about being adventurous, is about going for what I call high beta, like high sensitivity. Like you take risk, you have to take risk to beat the curve. You have to have a plan. It starts with a plan. It starts with a mindset. It starts with a plan. It starts with you got to write it down. As Robert Cialdini, the guy who wrote Influence, something that was influential in the pickup artist community, he said like people live up to what they write down. So you got to write your plan. Like the only guys who don't write a plan and go into battle are called kamikaze. That's probably not the best plan. So you got to have a plan, and you have to take risks to beat the average. So to be better than the average, to get yourself to wealthier, and you got to educate yourself. So this is basically risk taking, optimism, and be willing to make sacrifices. Now, if you have this, once you've reached a certain level of affluence, if you keep on taking the same risk and so on and so forth, you can end up like Trump, for instance. He was 6 times bankrupt, and he rebounded harder every time. He rebounded better. What's his name? Elon Musk, like the great African American entrepreneur, Elon Musk. Uh, I mean, this guy went bankrupt a couple of times, I think. So,
I mean,
Walt
let's
Disney.
hold on. We got to clarify that Elon Musk is an African American. He's just from South Africa.
That's right.
That's racist somehow.
How dare you?
How dare you?
So,
No, this is brilliant, Laurent. This is fucking brilliant. What you're saying, I love it.
So staying wealthy is actually being risk adverse. You have to. So on the one
Yes.
hand, and this is very difficult to do. An MLD, for instance, the guy has absolutely zero problem getting rich, but staying wealthy is his nemesis. And a lot of people are like this, like they're getting rich, and then they adapt their lifestyle, but then they can't adapt down. So they buy this car, they get bigger apartments, or they get better clothes, and so on and so forth. So staying humble and staying wealthy is difficult.
And that's what
Joanna,
Joanna is saying
hello.
here. Joanna, I fucking love you. You are absolutely fantastic at deciphering things and saying it in a great way. You know, we're designed to evolve. Men and women are their own worst enemy. They think, and we're thinking about this in just the men piece, point of view right now. They think there is an end goal, and then they stop. Never stop betting yourself until you die. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Is like once you become successful, if you don't maintain, go ahead, Laurent.
We know what the end goal is. It's like 6 feet under, pushing daisies. So that's the end of the journey. What matters is the journey. And thank you, Joanna. I mean, it made me think of one thing. Like men are their own worst enemy. But what if, for instance, the equivalent for women? What if we accept that we are our own worst enemy? What if feminism was women's worst enemy? Just what if? Entertain the thought. What would it look like? Just entertain the thought. I'm not saying it is, but entertain the thought.
Well, I
What
think
if
we
it
could
was?
say we could. I think we could say that it is. I
Well, of course
mean,
it is. We
Let's hear
believe so.
the hypothetical that he's producing right now.
yeah.
Yeah, just entertain the thought. Stay with the thought, not in the feelings, and what it would look like for a woman. What if you see? What if you
Glenn's feelings
consider
got
that it
hurt.
was exactly? You don't want to get demonetized right away, man.
But like, no, I think it's great. Like, what if feminism is in a hypothetical? But I think we all agree here. We believe that feminism is women's worst enemy.
I want
think
to
we could
hear. I want to hear what Laurent was trying to say, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Laurent, please continue.
What was I saying? Sorry.
Like, let's pretend for a second that feminism is women's worst enemy.
Oh, it's just an hypothetical, a question thrown at women, and to see how they answer. But if you look at what it produces, women have turned into the men they hate. It turns women into the men they hate.
Right.
It's not a great accomplishment now, is it?
Yeah,
True.
because they end up out of all the male archetypes they pick the frat boy.
And there's one thing that's
The one that they
interesting.
hate the most.
Exactly. They pick the frat boy, the guy that's just gonna bang them and leave them, and they're not gonna, don't care. That's the feminist archetype is the frat boy. But I find it interesting that when it comes to men, we have turned men into teenagers, and we have
Okay.
allowed men to stay in this teenage mindset. We have coddled them. Women coddle their children. Women coddle their boys, now more than ever, and not requiring them to man up. And then dads are doing the same thing. dads don't really, there's no rite of passage. There's no, like, yo, be a man. This is how you be a man from dads anymore. And so maybe it goes back to parenting or our culture. Our culture, maybe we rely on the school or the system to create what our children are supposed to be when they're adults, and not so much parents anymore. I think parents need to get more involved in creating what their child is going to become. We don't monitor what they consume in the digital world. I mean, the internet's a huge, vast place of titties and ass, but we really don't monitor what our children becomes or consumes, and we just allow them to entertain themselves because it allows us to continue working or to do, have peace or do our own thing. So I think it kind of goes back to parenting needs to be done better at home in order to prepare our young men and young women for adulthood so that they could be the best adult that they can, or at least strive to be the best adult that they can. Because we live in a society, like I said, that when we have so many men would rather play video games and sit at home on their ass and not be productive, not chase their journey, not go on their hero's journey, because the hero journey on their video game is more exciting. How do we fix that, Laurent? How do we fix that problem with men? How do we get men to be more adventurous and more risk-taking and want to chase their best version of themselves again?
I had a mentor when I was 17, and I had the reason why I really took on this journey, and I take it every day. And it's difficult because, I mean, like, to give you an example, my wife once, like, she woke up, oh, this is no, oh, wait. So we were in the morning. This is white heteronormative, toxic, oppressive patriarchy. Like, what the fuck was that? I was just asking, like, can you pass me the milk? Like, it's 7 o'clock. I want coffee. So this is the person I'm married to, and she was working at Twitter, so she had all this work influence. So, like, wait a minute, like Roe v. Wade. So, oh, this is oppressive patriarchy. Oh, fuck that. So anyhow, so this is what I have to work with. But I had an epiphany, thinking that, oh, I will raise those kids. I will be for them the mentor I wish I had the mentor I had when I was 17. And it's a incumbent to the father. And when you do that, like with my like girls are always raised, oh, Prince Charming is coming. And for guys, well, dude, you're supposed to be Prince Charming, and fuck that, you're supposed to be a king and rule all those Prince Charmings. So this is how I teach my son. And the same analogy with Thor, like, hey, I need a hand. Good, you have one at the end of your arm, and it's exactly the kind of stuff that I do. Like when he tumbles, all right, show me that again, one more time. And he's 7, and like I'm tough on him. Like at school they have this bad influence from America where they give prizes, like participation prizes. Like, no, kids, you return them. You haven't earned them. You're number 1, number 2, or number 3, or you're nothing. And like this toughness, this tough love, but it's surrounded in love, and you have to learn. And it's really and surprisingly, boys are extremely receptive to it. Very receptive because they see the mentorship.
That's a really good
you know that I
point.
love you,
wanna
but I'm going
hone
to
in
be
on
tough
that.
on.
I want to hone in on that. That's very important. Guys are very receptive to understanding that, whereas a lot of times women are not. And that's why we are your big brothers being so hard on you, because you are your own worst enemy. And we need you to understand that this is the burden of performance. And once you take it on and once you carry it up the hill, everything becomes better.
I think we need to have a different look at failure. Failure is the process of success.
Yeah.
Like people are
As Laurent said, I don't mean to cut you off, Glenn, but as Laurent said in the very beginning, there are winners. You win or you learn. That's it. There's only 2.
Yeah,
Win
and we
learn.
really need to realize that learning is not bad. Learning is good. Too many people want to do things for the first time and be successful at it and be like, oh yeah, I'm great. But guess what? You have to fucking put in the work. You have to hone your craft. You have to hone the skill set to be good. When you first start out off at something, you should suck. And it's okay to suck at it. But you got to work at it and grind and develop those skills. And men need to realize that is important. That is part of the hero's journey. Okay. Look at any superhero besides Superman. You know, look at like Captain America. You know, he was this weak little guy, and then he got super serum, but then he still had to go on his journey. You know, look at Odysseus. He wasn't the greatest guy during the Odyssey until the end. He went on a hero's journey. The hero's journey is perfect for men, and men need to accept it and embrace their own hero's journey. Your hero journey is not going to be like mine. It's not going to be like Laurent's, or it's not going to be like HUD's. But you have to embrace your own.
Actually, speaking of the hero's journey, do you know why this is ingrained in all religions and all myths all around the world, like the work of Joe Campbell? There's actually a neuroscientist who actually mapped it out, the hero's journey in the chemical composition within our brain. So this is inscribed in us. So remember that our brain it bathes in the chemical soup, chemical brothers, baby, and all the hero's journey, like the chemical composition of endorphin, norepinephrine, and so on and so forth, actually is a special combination of all those chemicals. So this is why, for instance, a lot of older people are happy, and the least happiest time is like people in their 20s and so on and so forth. So it's actually kind of interesting. I need to find this guy, the neurochemical hero journey. It's kind of interesting. Sorry.
I find that.
I'm sorry, I was reading the.
I find that fascinating. And Laurent, if you can find that at some point, I would love to read it.
I was checking out the comments because I couldn't see the comments from where I'm at. But Tristan, go to Tristan's comment about they need a toxic man in their life. And it's true because we have realized we have made competition, you know, considered toxic. All right. So yeah, I think a lot of young men need what they call a toxic man.
Well, see, this is true. I got to speak on this before it loses my brain. I'm dealing with somebody right now that I don't know why the fuck I'm keeping them in my life, but I have somebody that incredibly toxic and almost got me arrested again because of his toxic behaviors. So that's interesting because that is kind
of. Don't talk about me like that. Don't talk about me.
I'm not talking about you. We haven't even met yet. We just kiss over the phone. Kiss me through the phone.
Hey,
that's gonna be the next music video.
Be a good domestic partner.
Hey, babe, knock it off. Not on air.
But I think it's interesting that we're at the point now in society that we consider traditional masculine behavior toxic. You know, to be a go-getter is now toxic. To be competitive and have that competitive drive is toxic. Like, and yes, Tristan, I will haunt you in your dreams if you don't go to the gym. All right, you can't get the Oprah that you want unless you hit the gym. All right, because Oprah wants a baddie. All right, so you got to get in there and work out. That's right. I mentioned Oprah. Say something about it. And that's the inside joke. You guys don't know. Tristan loves Oprah. But the thing is like we have this, you know, yeah, you better watch out. She's good with knives. But we live in a society that now the things that made men great, competitive drive, not wanting to settle anymore, is now considered toxic. Laurent, you're a millionaire. Would you, if you just settled at making $100K a year, you wouldn't be where you're at now. If you settled at making bare minimum, you wouldn't be where you're at now. You had that drive, that competitional drive within you to make you better, to push yourself to be better, to sit where you are now.
You know, it's interesting you say that because at the moment, like I can retire. I mean, yesterday, for instance, I went out kite surfing. I can retire. I can do nothing, and because of the way it's positioned, I can do nothing all day. Like there's only so many barbecues, but nonetheless, my work ethic dictates that yesterday I went to bed. I had finished something. I went to bed at 10:30, and this morning I was up at 5, and I was working from 6. So well, will you retire? Why the fuck would I do that? Why the fuck would I do that? And if you look at everybody who's driven, they need that. It's interesting. You talk about toxic masculinity. Like I'm trying, literally as we speak, I'm trying to pull out a list of toxic masculinity. So you need to be assertive is toxic masculinity. Competitive is toxic masculinity. Like awesome. Like you do all this, You turn the volume to 11, and you're gonna pull some chicks like there's no tomorrow, and you'll be a greater man. The funny
I
part
hate
is,
I hate the buzz term, and that's why I threw it, or the buzzword. That's why I put it out there.
but
Because
you know,
like, what
actually,
really is it? And nobody can really define it.
actually,
I
that's
think I should get
actually,
a shirt that says I'm toxic as fuck.
and you know what? Actually, interestingly enough, toxic masculinity existed prior to Me Too, but toxic masculinity was confined to the academia and like for very specific type of archetypal violence in prison, like the extreme violent kids, and like who had a distorted view of, oh, I beat people, therefore I'm a man. And these guys like not naturally they get locked up. So it was like super obscure. But then Me Too arrived and all this, and then everything that remotely disagrees with female imperative. Oh, like global warming. That's got to be toxic masculinity, guys. Obviously.
Well, see, that's the thing, and that's what it comes back to why men are their own worst enemy. We allowed it to be this way. We allowed it to be this way.
Yeah, no,
Point
you're right.
blank.
Like we are our own worst enemy because we take, and here this goes back to wanting the WAP. Women say this is toxic. Oh, so I should stop this because I don't want to lose access to her. So if it's toxic, I'm not going to do it now. But guess who they're banging? They're banging the men that that consider toxic in the first place.
Interestingly enough, like now the female the female archetype is like what is considered toxic masculinity. You do that as women and go girl. Like wait a minute, you're assertive. Yeah, go
Yeah.
girl. Wait a minute. Like
No,
what?
that's a beautiful point to make right there, Laurent. That what women are considered toxic in males is now considered being a boss bitch. It's being, that's what feminists are pushing. It's funny that they're telling men stop being this way, but they're telling women start being this way.
They're telling men like stop being this way. It makes me so wet. Wait a minute. Because
Exactly.
yeah, maleness. Oh yeah, they like that. Man. Oh man, virility. Wow.
All right, so we are almost at the hour mark, and we like to keep it to an hour. So let's go around the horn. Let's give one point, one way that guys could stop being their own worst enemy. Huds, and then we'll wrap it up. Hud starts with you.
Yeah, drop your ego. 100%. You got to drop your ego. As soon as you drop your ego and you actually try and find some help, like I can't tell you how many people have reached out to me from high school way back in the day, and they're like, dude, I love what you're doing. And I felt weird reaching out, but I do want to like improve my sex life or my relationship life. Just drop your fucking ego and understand it's not weakness. If anything, it's actually strength. So go ahead and do something instead of doing nothing.
Laurent, what do you add? What do you got to say?
The greatest. You asked me like before, and I think the best answer that I would ever be able to give is go for no. Because we live inside the prison of our own comfort. But if you systematically go for no, like there's a chick you're on the street, okay, you go for no. Like you go and talk to her. And then "Hey, you would like to go on a date. Like you go for no, you push the boundaries, and you'll be surprised that actually by pushing the boundaries and for everything, like, oh, I want a promotion at work. Well, you go and talk to your boss. What if he says no? Well, then he says no. But go for no, systematically go for no. Like for instance, when I negotiate deals, I always push the boundaries. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, I realize that actually because when we are our own worst enemies because there are two ways you can fail. You try and you fail, that's failure, or you aim too high, or you aim too high and you fail, or you aim too low and you succeed. And a
That's a
lot
good
of
one.
people will die mediocre because it never went for no. So go for no in all areas of your life and make bold requests systematically. Make it a habit, and you will grow. You will grow. Empires were not built by people who were arguing about their neo pronouns.
Yeah, That's awesome. That's actually true. That's really true. That's a really good one, Durant. I would say, you know what? I'm gonna add. It's gonna spin off of HUD's, you know, but find a mentor, vet a mentor, and find a mentor. Nobody does it alone. Okay, even the Michael Jordan didn't do it alone. He had coaches.
Wait a
You
minute,
know,
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris didn't do it alone. He had
Wait,
coaches.
wait. If the movie 300 was done with Chuck Norris, they would have called it One.
But you have to find someone to mentor you. And you know what? There's a lot. Go to the Dragon Ship. Log on to sign up for Thor's, Dragon Ship monthly subscription. You will find men out there that will help mentor you. All right. Look into, if you want to get into money and finance, hit up Laurent to get a mentor to find how to get better at finance, or hit up, Miguel from crypto. What's his channel? Crypto.
So dollar cost crypto.
Dollar cost crypto.
Mhm.
There's another good guy. I just met with him. He's a great guy. These are two people that help you with your finance. If you want to get into fitness, hit up Phil Foster. If you want to get into dating, talk to HUDs. If you want to be a badass like me, hit me up. All around badass. No,
Define badass.
Just be like Glenn Lawrence. This isn't the definition. It's just right there. Look it up. Google it. But just find somebody to mentor you. That's important, because a mentor is going to challenge you, is going to do what Laurent said. He's going to push you out of your comfort zone. He's going to push you for no. He's going to push you to failure because he wants to watch you grow. So and that mentor also gives you accountability. Someone to be accountable to is extremely important if you want to grow. So without that, let's wrap it up. HUDs, what you got going on, man, later on this week?
Well, we got our very first Thirsty Thursdays, which is going to be fun. We're doing, I really like this, man. I love the idea of us doing, I'm just trying to throw a bunch of things around here, multiple monitors. I'm really excited about what we're doing because we're giving you guys on Tuesdays conversations like this.
Can you throw up the Thirsty Thursday thumbnail for everybody to see?
I could actually.
Why are you doing that? Why are you talking?
Absolutely. So let me go ahead and grab that. But yeah, so essentially what we're doing, we want to give you guys actionable information. Okay. Every Tuesday, we're going to have discussions like this. And then every Thursday, we're going to have women come on and actually have conversations with us. I don't want to be in an echo chamber. I know Glenn doesn't either. I know none of you guys want to hear stuff in an echo chamber. Sure, it can be fun, but it's not going to help you get better. And so if you can actually get the information from the other source, you can get better yourself. Women can get better, and we can come together in the way that we're supposed to be.
And he's going to pull that up for you guys. We have our Thirsty Thursday session. Our first Thirsty Thursdays is going to be this Thursday, and we have 2 guests for Thirsty Thursdays. And as soon as he pulls it up, we'll see who these guests are. Bear with us. But until then, Laurent, you're an author. You wrote a book, a very successful book. Can you tell us what that book is for people to
Sure.
find it and where they can get it?
Sure. So I'm a professional market participant. So I trade ETFs and a bunch of stuff. I'm a quant, and I wrote a book called Algorithmic Short Selling with Python. So the market is going down. I have a course actually that I'm updating. I was programming this at the moment. I have a course about this, about algorithmic short selling. The book Algorithmic Short Selling is very much not it goes beyond short selling, and it goes beyond algorithm. It really tells you how, step by step, how you can develop your gain expectancy, which is your trading edge, the mental behind it and the practical behind it. So that's it. That's what I do. Otherwise, and again, buying the book for me, it buys me a Starbucks. So I don't do it for the money. And a lot of people hit me up day in day out, and I don't do it for the money. I really do it to help people. And like I often tell the people I help, like we did the plunder with the dragon ship. I said, you know what, we're going to do it for free, because if you want to do it professionally, if you want to contract me, maybe as a retailer, you couldn't afford it. I don't say this in a pretentious way, but I've been doing this for 20 years. So I'm really out here to help people, because we have three things in life: health, relationship, and money. Three primal worries. And my belief is that if we can take care of money, then it gives a lot of breathing room. It gives more space. And
That's so true.
and Glenn is taking care of health, and Hans is taking care of relationships. So that we're the trifecta here.
We are the
Especially you
fucking
guys.
trifecta.
We're the Trinity.
Fuck
We
yeah.
have the Trinity right here. Money, looks, game. Money,
Yeah.
muscles, game right here.
So this
All right.
is what we got. So this is going to be an interesting one. We got
Yes,
Halloween. Halloween.
We have two women coming on our Thirsty Thursdays, and that's what's going to be. I think Coco's probably going to be a resident woman coming on Thirsty Thursdays, and there would always be another woman on there. We're going to be talking about things that you guys want to talk about when it comes to dating and relationships. And so make sure you guys tune in this Thursday for our Thirsty Thursdays. We're bringing the ladies on, so stay tuned to that.
Good stuff. All right.
And for
You got
me-
any last thoughts?
My last thoughts is, you know what, go out there and chase excellence, chase your dream, put in the work, you know, be better tomorrow than you were today.
All right. I'm going to send us out with something. I think it'll be fun. Just going along with the entire theme.
What are you sending out?
I'm just going to play another video.
Oh God,
why
here we
not?
go. He's gonna play another video. It's probably gonna be something sappy.
Post me a pic, finna make me a profit. When a nigga hit, then the bitch get toxic. I've been lit since brunch, that shit. Order 42 for the table, let's pop shit.
I think low key, HUD has a thing for Meg Thee Stallion.
I might.
Since these hoes all dance when they come around me, all I see is a whole lot of dinner. I walk around the house butt naked and I stop at air mirror just stare at my own posterior. I don't give a fuck.
All right, I think we're good.
All right,
I think
guys.
we're good.
Have a good one. Until then, see you guys Thursday.